What's up, everybody? I'm John from Trip Team Tie Dye, and I'm gonna show you today how to tie and dye trip style t-shirt. It's a style that I came up with. It's based on shibori, a type of shibori tie, and it's Kenny style and a little bit of geode all mixed in there. Um, the the idea I had when I came up with it was I wanted to turn the whole shirt into like a giant Kenny style nub. Like, I really like the string detail and the Kenny styles that I make, and so I wanted to like explode it onto the whole shirt instead of having multiples all over it. Try to get big areas with the same kind of detail. So we're gonna use today. I'm gonna use a Dancing Robin um, T-shirt from Grateful Dyes. First thing you want to do is I turn it inside out and then do a mirror fold on it. The way I do that is I just put my arm through the sleeve and reach in and grab the other sleeve, pull it through. Kind of get it straightened out. Once you've done this a few times, it really comes like second nature. Make sure it's all even. This shirt has been boiled and washed, and dried to make sure there's no chemicals on the shirt to resist the dye. It's not soaked in soda ash or anything. It's just been cleaned just to remove the chemicals, the manufacturing chemicals. Once you have it folded like that, I always use a couple little clips to kind of keep it together while I'm tying it, to keep my symmetry, because that's part of what makes trip style. Trip style is a symmetrical fold, with tied with sinew and fishing line both. So that's gonna be involved in the tie. There's that's what makes trip style. Trip style is the fine details and the string detail that you'll get from using both types of string. Clip one at the bottom of the shirt and then one on the sleeve to keep it all together. Just like that. Because right up here I'm going to start my first part of the tie here, so I don't really need a clip there. So I always kind of make my the front of the shirt is right here where the low side of the collar is. I always kind of use that as my reference to make the majority of the detail on the front, because that's going to be the exposed surface when you dye it. So what I do is basically decide how much of the shirt I want, basically the line of the sinew that's going to cut into the shirt to make like a border type line. This one I want it to be kind of like past the shoulder and down into the front, middle of the shirt. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just turn this into a giant nub. I'm just gonna wad it together at that area, making some detail in there by scrunching it in. This is going to be a big solid ball of shirt, so when we dye it, it is going to take some serious patience and time really to get it saturated and get a good effect in the end. So once I have that balled up like that, I'm going to take my Sinew and I'm going to wrap it around at the base of this big giant nub. I don't have a Sinew puller or anything. I just kind of do it all by hand. My hands pay the price for it too, but maybe I'll get a Sinew puller soon. Before this summer, when my production goes into crazy mode for festivals and concerts. Just want to pull that really tight. Give it a couple laps around, because that's going to be like a defining line in the shirt. And keeping your nub there all scrunched up, and keeping this sinew super tight, you're gonna just wrap it in a. There's no rhyme or reason to how you wrap it. Just get it tight and make it kind of chaotic. Just different wraps all through there, pulling it tight each time, and you're not really overlapping each lap. You're just making its own individual wraps, lines for each wrap. You don't have to go back over it. It's not like a geode where you have to wrap it multiple times and pull it and wrap it again and pull it. The more you wrap it, the tighter it's going to get, and those lines are all going to give you a little bit of detail in your final product, and it's going to be really tight. Okay, so once you have that, then now you can take your sleeve clip off and do the sleeve the same way. I usually go the sleeve and then down in past the armpit area, just wadding it together, and kind of making sure that the front here is what's really exposed on the outside of the shirt, on the outside of the wrap. Wrap it around the base where you're going to separate that from the rest of the shirt. Wrapping that over itself a few times and then pull that tight. And now you have this other second nub that you're going to start wrapping just like you did the first one. Okay, so this is the neck and down into the front of the shirt. This is the sleeve and down past the armpit. And then here's the rest of the body of the shirt. Okay, so for the third nub, I'm just going to go right underneath where the sleeve area was and do the same thing. Just push up a section of shirt, and I might run it down to the very tip of the bottom corner, which is going to kind of give you an area of the shirt that's going to go down like that. So what you have left is back over here. There's no specifics to that part of the tie. You can do that however you want. You can change it. You You can use different sections of the shirt. That part is open to do however you want to do it. I've done it all kinds of different ways, using different sections of the shirt. You can also separate the front and back and make those separate, make those different parts of the shirt as well. But I just like to do them like this. You may get better saturation when you first start doing it if you do separate the front and back of the shirt. But just always remember to keep it symmetrical and still do the mirror fold in that manner where you will still have a line of symmetry down the center. So I'm just doing the same thing, wrapping that nub. So we're going to end up with 4 nubs on this, 4 giant nubs. I've done some that are just 3. The bigger the shirt too, the bigger the size of shirt, the more nubs you're going to need. Like long sleeves, you're going to do extra nubs on those too because of the sleeves. And like I just did a 4X. Here's a 4X that I tied. This is also a Dancing Robin shirt. It's done and ready to dye, but it has 5 nubs there, and these are really big hunks of shirt too. Okay, so let's give that a couple more little wraps. This is my first time making a tutorial, so I don't like. If I'm not explaining it well, feel free to ask questions or whatever. And if there's any popularity or the need for it, I will make another one and maybe make it a little more detailed or in depth if this isn't enough. And then the final piece of the shirt, just do the same thing. Just give it a little wad up there and wrap it tight with Sinew in all directions. Just like that. Then I'm going to go to one of the intersections there where one of the separating ties is, and just wrap it a few times, pull it tight, and cut the sinew. Okay, so the first part of it's done. The sinew wrap part is all finished. You can see all those sinew lines are going to give us some kind of the thicker line details of the shirt. There's going to be the second step is fishing line. Okay, so I just use 20-pound test fishing line from Walmart. This stuff, it's like less than $2 for 250 yards. So the way I do this part is I pick one of the nubs. We'll start at the big one here, and down here in the little crook where the main part of the sinew separation area is, where I've separated the segment of the shirt off, I'll wrap my fishing line around that a few times to give it something to anchor itself to. Wrap it around, pull it tight. Now it's on there. It's not going anywhere. Then I just go pulling this extremely tight the whole time. I'm going to wrap this nub. I typically wrap it, kind of wrapping it right around, going up, because the idea is I want this fishing line to be super tight, because it's going to give us the super fine fishing line detail that really sets these things aside. That this really makes these things pop. I did them for a while this way when I first started doing them, and then I kind of changed up and was just doing them with Sinew, and I realized that this is really what makes the trip style the trip style, is this the combination of both types of string being used. So once I've wrapped it around that way, then I kind of go back around up and down, kind of intersecting with all those other wraps. And I just keep it tight and just kind of wrap it. There's not, you're gonna have quite a few more wraps with the fishing line than you are with the Sinew. And this thing, by the time you have the nub wrapped with both, this is as hard as a rock. Then just move on to the next, keeping it connected. Move on to the next nub, doing the exact same thing. Letting it just smash into the nub and making little segments so you know it's tight. Fishing line can be a pain in the ass to use, I know that, but once you've practiced with it a little bit, you'll get good at it. You just have to put the time in to mess with it, to get those fine line string details. Okay, so I got these two nubs wrapped. Then I got this little dead space in the middle. I'm going to go ahead and wrap that with the fishing line as well. You don't always end up with that much of a like a dead space that is in a nub, but if you do, then you can just tighten it up by doing that right there, giving it some detail. Go on to the next one. Keeping the string tight. Just wrap it around. Okay. Now we got the last one. Same thing. There we go. 20 minutes it takes to put one together. Sometimes I can do them faster. And when you get to the end, just go to one of your little dead space there and give yourself a few wraps. Pull it super tight. it's not coming off. Trim your fishing line. Sometimes I'll put a rubber band around that. For one, it'll mark where my loose end is, and it also keeps the fishing line from coming loose. So here's what it looks like tied up. So you got a combination of both types of string. Super, super tight. These are hard as rocks. This is a very tight tie. And then in the dyeing process, basically, you'll dye this with starting with lighter colors. The lighter colors first, putting the colors where you want them. They don't have to be a specific spot. The more colors you use, the better. Start with lighter colors, progress into the darker colors, and then typically at the end, I'll use a super dark color like navy blue, a dark gray, or a black. And after the shirt has set for a few minutes, after the dye has been applied, I'll take the super dark color and just put a coat of it over the top of the outside of the shirt to bring out all these fine string details. So next we'll dye it.